Hello, hello,
Hello.
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 Welcome to another segment of Silhouette of a Queen. You already know what to do. Go ahead and press the like, start, subscribe button. Let everyone know that it's another segment of Silhouette of a Queen. Also, make sure to turn on those notifications so that you guys don't miss the next Silhouette of a Queen because the next one, I'm going out with a bang. It's going to be the end of 2020. Y'all, we made it. We made it. So again, so just welcome tonight to Silhouette of a Queen. I am excited again to be on here tonight, and I have a special guest with me, and I can't wait to get started and just start sharing with you guys everything that we're going to be sharing tonight. And so, for those of you that are new to the Silhouette of a Queen platform, I first want to introduce who I am. My name is Tiffany Devon. I am a certified life coach and I am a wardrobe stylist. And so I fuse the two worlds together because not only am I helping you to get your image together on the outside, but we also want to make sure as queens that we feel good on the inside and that our foundation is solid in who we are and that we are purpose and driven women and we know how to move around in the world. And so that is my mission and I'm here to serve you in that capacity. So I want to tell you a little bit about what Silhouette of a Queen is and what it means. It was an idea that I had back in 2017, and I had this vision of doing it at a hotel and whatnot. And I was actually going to launch that this year and invite a group of panel of speakers on. But as the world would take a drastic change and turn with COVID happening, so I decided, well, I'll just put that on the shelf. And back in May, I was just minding my own business, and God tapped me on my shoulder and said, "I need you to do this, and I need you to move your feet." And he said it with such urgency that I had it up and going within 3 weeks. So you are now looking at, I think about maybe 5 segments in with Silhouette of a Queen. And so a silhouette of a queen is for a powerful and resilient woman who has yet to be seen, felt, or heard. This is for my ladies that have oftentimes felt overlooked in life, undervalued, but I just wanted to let you know that you are not undervalued, you are not overlooked, and you are actually seen and heard by the beautiful maker himself. And so it is my intent as we keep moving along through this platform that we talk about very real issues that women of today are actually talking about. And so with becoming a queen, because we are always evolving, we are steadily becoming. It doesn't matter if you're an emerging, aspiring, or established queen, we are still going, as the Bible says, from glory to glory to glory, and levels. There's always another level, there's always another level. You never make it. And so when we say that we are queens and we are putting on this crown, which is what I have on today, there is much weight and responsibility that comes with saying that you are queen. It is more than just a catchphrase. This is a lifestyle. It requires a greater level of maturity. And as queens, we are always emerging so that we can take our rightful place. And so that is the vision that I have for Silhouette of a Queen. And so it's more than just a Black woman thing. It is for women of all nationalities, of all shapes and sizes. You are a queen, and it's about taking your place in God's kingdom. So that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I said, with crowning of crowning becoming a queen is a greater responsibility. It's about redefining your life. And oftentimes when we're redefining our lives, God will send specific people to help us walk through this thing called life because we can't get there by ourselves. And I know you would like to think that it's just you and Jesus. I don't need anybody else. That's a lie. In fact, I became this woman that I am today because I was vulnerable enough to allow women into my life that were going to help shape me. And so that's why I decided to talk about the segment that we're going to talk about tonight. But first and foremost, before I do that, I want to introduce my friend. And she's also, I call her my coach as well because she is so great at helping women walk through friendships and particularly biblical friendships. So I just want to introduce her to you guys, and I'm going to read her bio. Her name is Laval Ezel, and she is a certified life coach, sisterhood strategist, international motivational speaker, and blogger. Her fire for healthy friendships amongst women birthed a movement called Striving in Sisterhood, where she conducts workshops, conferences, and special events for girls and women. She created the Sister Sit and Chat experience for women to bond through self discovery, relationship strategies, mature in the levels of friendship, accountability, and purpose. She believes that self worth inspires a lifestyle of authentic sisterhood. Laval shares her wealth of knowledge and experience to several platforms, both privately and publicly weekly. Her message of striving in sisterhood is designed to educate women about the levels of friendship, develop biblical character, and to create opportunities for divine connections. Understanding these principles will help women reposition unhealthy friendships and maximize healthy friendships for an increased purpose. So y'all go ahead and show some love in the comments for my friend and my coach, and she's a coach to many women, Laval Ezel.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm so excited about tonight's conversation.
Yes.
So thank you guys for tuning in. And like we said, engage, please, because we're going to have just a wonderful conversation tonight. And hopefully you will walk away with nuggets and just aha moments and just new revelations that's going to take all of your relationships, not just your friendships, but all of your relationships to the next level. So let's get started, Tiffany.
All right. Okay. So again, the intent of tonight's segment is to help you understand the purpose for divine friendships. Okay. And also, if there's any wounds that you may have had in your friendships, we're going to help you to uncover that and unpack that so that it can facilitate a level of healing. So that way, when God starts sending divine friendships towards you, you won't be in a place of bondage where you are pushing people away. But we're also going to help you to identify the attributes of a woman who is healthy and whole so that you guys can build a purposeful and divine friendship. Right. And so one of the ways that we're going to do that tonight is by opening up the door and allowing you to see our friendship. So Laval is going to be speaking on the 4 levels of friendship because she teaches this in her workshops, and it's on acquaintance, casual, close, and intimate. And she often says very few people get to the level of intimate in their relationships because it requires a high level of vulnerability and accountability. And that's where, when the Bible says iron sharpens iron, because sparks is going to fly. And it doesn't always feel good to be sharpened, but know that this person is there in your life to help you become the highest version of yourself, the self that God saw from the foundation of the world. So we are going to talk about that. So we're going to go through the acquaintance level. Laval and I met in 2009 through a mutual friend, and we met at this event. Now, I thought Laval was she was very nice and whatnot, and that's where I left it. I didn't know that she was actually interested in a friendship with me until much years later. So after 2009, we would casually bump into each other at different events, and it was always very, hey girl, how you doing? Just small chat. And then that would be it. In 2014, we really started building our friendship after I went through a divorce. And it was a very dark season in my life. And so I was tired of sitting in the house, and I was looking for something more positive. And I saw that she was posting and talking about her event that she does here in the Dallas area called Sister Sit and Chat. And because I had went to previous events of hers, I knew that it was always very warm and inviting. The women were always friendly. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to go to that. Yeah. And so I went. And it was from that point that she and I started connecting and building a friendship. And one of the things that really made me go, oh, like some commonality, which she will talk about in the levels of friendship on Acquaintance, is that I had just got my certification as a life coach. And so while we were talking, she shared with me that she was a life coach as well. And so I said, oh, okay. So we started talking about that. And that was how our friendship was activated. And we've been rolling ever since.
Right, right. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our friendship, but we're also going to talk about each level. So the first level we all are familiar with, which is acquaintance. Usually it's someone that you just meet maybe once in passing. You may or may not get their name, or, but you are at an event or a place for a particular reason, and you may just cross paths and maybe just have small talk, which, I always say, one of the things that I'm going to help you to identify tonight are some of the key things that you need to start thinking about and assessing for yourself is, how well do I do this? So a lot of times I know a few women that says small talk, I don't like it. It's just too much. And sometimes small talk is really good, especially in connecting with people, especially when you understand that God is going to start connecting you with divine connection. So you have to start somewhere. Even if you're not good at small talk, just practice it. Just practice it. And the more that you start practicing it, it may not be your favorite thing to do, but sometimes it is necessary in order to get that connection with that individual. So acquaintance, just in casual, you don't know them very well. We all have a lot of acquaintances. So I don't think I have to go into depth with that. But with Tiffany, when we first met, for me, I just saw something in her that just I just felt this connection with her. And I said, I looked, I glanced at her and I said, oh, she seems really nice. And she was really quiet. When someone is quiet, I know that they are a powerhouse. There's a powerhouse somewhere in there. And so it just made me curious to know who she was. And so for me, I always pursue friendships, but that's the level that I am on. Everybody's not at that level. But for me, God had placed in my heart that she was someone that I needed to connect with. So like she said, that was in 2019. I'm sorry, 2009. You said 2009. Okay, so that was 2009. And she said that our friendship didn't activate until 2014. Okay. So friendships don't happen instantly. So I want to side note that, and we'll continue to go on and talk about that later. So I knew that I was pursuing her friendship, but I had to be patient because guess what? She wasn't ready. But we got that introduction out of the way. So she knew who I was, I knew who she was, and we just kind of spoke and, we were polite to each other when we saw each other at events. Correct. Did you want to add anything else to that, Tiffany?
Yeah, that was correct. And because like you said, I didn't know that was your gifting and even a ministry for you. And so I had no clue on the acquaintance level that she was really trying to befriend me. And we'll talk about that as we keep talking throughout the night.
Yeah. So after that, I actually was going to be more intentional about connecting with her and just giving her an opportunity to show me who she was. So you can't rush a relationship. Just know you can't rush it. It is all in God's timing.
Yes. So I want to have you talk about, we've already, established the acquaintance level in friendships, which I think a lot of women, they're great at doing. And even this next level, casual. Women are great at doing casual. So right. Can you go into describing what a casual friendship looks like?
Casual is when you actually see there is a connection, commonality, things that you like, things that you're interested in. You may, actually enjoy going to the same types of events, love the same type of music, love the same type of restaurants, type of movies, or if you're in certain activities, you like to work out. So you'll begin to meet people and you'll start connecting with them. And this is where you all are getting to know one another just on a personal level. This is more on the what we call the soulish level, because you're just getting to know the natural side of them, who they are, how they grew up, the ins and outs of things that they like, just how they think, those kind of things, just natural things that we enjoy. And then you start probably hanging out together. Hey, let's get together. You say, hey, I have a connection with this person. Hey, let's get together. Let's go out to eat. Let's go to the movies. And then you start hanging out probably more frequently. I'll say it just depends. Every friendship is different. So it's just that you spend quality time together. It does not have to be every day, but it's quality time where you're getting to know one another just on a soulish level. And so that's the fun part. You know, we talk about friendship. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so we're going to get into the rest of that as we move on, but really just learning how to connect with that person, learning how they think, learning what, you know, their basic goals are in life. You know, they want to lose weight, you know, just, and you start talking about those things as you get to know someone. So it's just learning how to listen to her. What are her dreams? What are her hopes? What are her aspirations on a natural level? So Tiffany and I started doing that, like I said, after she said, oh, you know, Val, you're a life coach. You know, that's where we started. I'll say that's where we started. And as we started to talk, I started to see her heart, you know, the things that she was interested in, what she was passionate about, learn a little bit more about her family, things like that. But I will go back and I will talk about when I was trying to connect with Tiffany. I had met her, got her phone number. And one time I actually visited our church, my home church, which is the Potter's House. And I wanted to see if she was at church and I wanted to connect with her. So I had gotten her phone number and I was hoping that she had put my phone number in her phone as well. So I called her. And so I said, hey, Tiffany, how are you? I text you. I text you. I think I text you. Yeah. So I said, hey, I'm at church today. Are you at church today? And she said, who is this? and I was a little taken back because I'm like, you didn't put my number in your phone. And so I want to give that example because as I was pursuing her friendship, it was important to me, but that right there was like, am I not important to her? She didn't, you know, as we connected, she didn't even put my name in her phone. Like, come on now. So I could have gotten offended at that moment and said, oh, she doesn't even think I'm important, you know. But I didn't let that stop me from pursuing her friendship because things like that happen. Everything is not going to be perfect. So as you're pursuing someone's friendship, give them an opportunity to warm up to you because it's not going to happen overnight. And so it was just a misunderstanding. I have no idea why she didn't have my name and phone number in her phone, but nevertheless, I said, you know what? Hey, this is LaVal, and I just wanted to see you, you know, if you were at church today, you know, to really have another opportunity to connect with her and to let her know that I was pursuing her friendship. So we got through that. She got my number, and then we stayed in contact after that. Because I think, what would you say happened after that when you knew that I was trying to connect with you? What were your thoughts?
Well, you know, I don't think I initially thought even then that you were trying to connect with me. But I do know, like in 2014, like I said, when we started having a conversation about, you know, we both were coaches and that was the commonality that drew us together. But one of the things that really stood out for me in that, because I was in that same year and when my birthday was coming up. And you were asking me, well, what was I going to do for my birthday? And I said, well, I'm thinking about going out to eat. And you said, well, I would love to help you with that. And so you took the time to, you know, make like little decorations and things like that. And I just thought, oh man, that is so sweet. And I just saw that you were consistently showing up and consistently being nice and showing yourself friendly, that I had not met anybody really like you, since I've been in Texas, who
Right.
genuinely wanted to connect with me and was doing nice and sweet things. So I think for me, that's what really stood out in the beginning phases of us building our friendship.
Yeah, and I would say if you are that person that will extend that friendship, this will happen. So I want to encourage you not to get discouraged, because if you're doing it with a genuine heart and you're giving because you want to, first of all, even just give the love of Christ. I was basically even just loving on her. My actions were loving on her as God would love on her. And so you have to know the value that you have as far as your personality and the things that God puts into your heart. He puts them in your heart for a reason. And it is for you to serve other people, to love on other people. And if you have the ability to do that, do it freely, because it will make the difference in the other person's life, the other woman's life. And so I just wanted to throw that nugget in, and that's what we're going to do tonight is as we know that there are certain things that you can glean from, because every woman is in a different place. Some women are still hesitant in going in friendships, and some are ready, and so if you're ready, just know what you offer in a friendship and be proud of that.
Yeah. That I would say that's definitely a great point of reference of what you're saying. So we know that the next level after casual is close. So how does someone work their way into going to the next level in friendship of being close? Because a lot of us do casual very well. Like I was a casual person. Like
and I think we should rest at casual. We talked about the beginning points of casual.
Yeah.
But what we have discovered, even in our own friendship, is that people can rest and stay in casual
for years.
For years. Even with a friend that you've had for 15, 20, 30 years, you all are still resting at casual. And if you're wanting more purposeful relationships, you have to go beyond casual.
Yeah. And I will say this, the reason why I was comfortable with casual was because for me, I didn't always trust women, and that's part of, all of us as women. I think we have all gone through some type of wound where women have betrayed us, have hurt us, been envious of us. And so when you don't know what you're looking for in friendships, and you keep befriending the wrong people, you will just say, forget it altogether. I don't trust you, and I'm just going to keep you at casual, which was what I was great at doing. I had this arm, and I kept you at arm's length, and it was my way of controlling how close you got to me, and I didn't let people get close to me. And so, as she was saying, this is the level that most people can stay on is at the casual level, because at the casual level, I don't have to be vulnerable with you. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be accountable to you. A casual level, I might meet up with you every now and then to go out to eat or whatever. Might not. You don't have to come to my house. Let's keep it surface, that kind of thing. I was really great at doing that. Although I did have like maybe one or two close, maybe one from long time ago, like I established those friendships in high school. But as far as trying to do that as a mature and adult woman, I was just like, nah, I don't think that's going to happen for me. And so part of the casual, being comfortable in the casual relationship, like I said, for me, and I know this is probably true for a lot of women, is you don't have to be vulnerable. You can kind of keep your armor up and not let people in. So yeah, so let's tie in and talking in how does a person even identify if a person is worth going to the close level with? What would you have to see in the casual friendship that says, okay, I can start bringing this person in?
Okay, so we talked about the early stages of casual. And casual, the early stages is the fun part because it's all exciting, it's new. Hey, let's hang out. You know, we're having fun, and that's all good. Okay. But when you're going into that next level, you're starting to see more of the character traits of that person. And that's where it's kind of like, I don't know. You know, I thought we were cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of relationships dissolve when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
Where when those character flaws are starting to affect your relationship, whether you make plans and they don't happen, someone doesn't call, someone doesn't have integrity in any type of situation, because now you're starting to spend more time with this person or talk to them on the phone more frequently, and you're seeing the daily behaviors, you're seeing the decisions that they're making, you're seeing their character. And first of all, you have to know who you are. And when you know who you are, then you can start identifying people that you know that you want to go into a close relationship with. So we'll stop here and say, first of all, have you done a self-assessment of your character? Have you made a decision of how you're going to walk in integrity? Have you made a decision of, are you going to be consistent are you going to keep your word when you say that you're going to do something? Are you doing those things? Especially if you want to receive that in return, you have to be one that is doing that, because that's going to help you identify what do I need in a close relationship. Even if you're not there, you need to know that now. And so as you're starting to spend more time with this person, those are the things that you're going to see. And the other thing is that you'll start having to address even just those situations in casual. Because if you don't address them in casual, you're not going to ever make it to close. And then you have to make a decision. Is this person worth my time? Is this person valuable enough for me to continue to fight for this relationship to work? So are you good at communicating? Are you a person that avoids conflict? Because these are the things that will prevent you from going to the next level. So Tiffany and I have also talked about, and we have a book that we can recommend. It's called Safe People. And if you are not aware of who would be a safe person and you want to go into depth about that, I would definitely recommend that you read that book. And we can actually put that resource in the comments after the video if you're interested in that. But you have to identify safe people. And safe people, for the most part, are very consistent in what they do. They keep their word. They walk in integrity. Their character flaws, if they're wrong, they're going to admit it. Those are the things that even as being women of God that we should be doing anyway. One of the things that I always say is that sisterhood, and this is friendship, it's an extension of our salvation. So as we are walking out our salvation daily, these are the things that we should be doing anyway. You know, we should be honoring God in everything that we do. And our relationship with God reflects our relationship with people. And so it's going to show up. And so that's how you're going to be able to identify, is this relationship working at casual? If it's not working at casual, there's no way you're going to make it to close with that individual. So it's one of those things where you don't see these attributes at the very beginning because you're having fun, you're hanging out. But as you start to do life together more consistently, they show up. And the question is how are you going to handle it when conflict comes? Tiffany?
Yeah. I think I think it's a matter of asking questions. And then, like you said, you know, part of the attributes of identifying a safe person is to look for consistency. You know, is this person trustworthy? If this person talks about other people to you, what do you think they're going to do to you? And if they are talking about other people to you, are they talking to you because they're trying to get a solution? Or are they doing it to just be venting and just trying to be messy? You know, those are the things that you have to to look at. And then for myself going through this journey, I know that I am a very consistent person. Like Laval can vouch for me in that I'm very,
Everything.
I'm consistent in everything. And so because that's an attribute that I give,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with expecting it back. So
yeah.
like for me, because I am a person that, you know, when you're in my presence, I want to let you know that I see you, that I hear you, and that I understand you, which is
And
the
she wants that
tagline.
in return.
I do. I do. I do. Sips
So,
tea.
yes, we will talk about this as far as in our friendship, because we did sit at casual, I say for a while, I will say.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I found out about Tiffany in our journey at the casual level. And those things about her were sharpening me. So, and like I said, at the casual level, you can still get a lot of value at being at the casual level. You just get more value as you continue through each level. So even with the consistency of Tiffany, the things that I'm not consistent at, she always calls me out. She calls me out on it. And I have to decide, how am I going to take that? Am I going to get offended, or am I going to say, you know what, this is an attribute that I still need to work on? Am I going to take this and just apply it and get better at it? Or am I going to get upset with her because she calls me out? You know, so those are the decisions that you have to make. So we're still at a casual level where we're learning more about each other's let's just say your personalities. Let's just say you're a morning person and your friend is not. So you call her in the morning and she's like, what? And you're like, hey girl. Okay, so you're starting to learn about each other's tendencies on a daily basis, and you have to learn how to balance that out and be okay with it. One of the things that I would definitely say is be your authentic self, because your friend will never know who you truly are if you're pretending like you started saying, hey girl, in the morning, and you're like, hey girl, and then the true self comes out, and then you're like, hey girl, and she's like, what happened? You know, you've been happy for the last month, and then all of a sudden when I call you in the morning, you're down, you know. So begin to learn how to communicate who you are and how you do things, because that's going to help the other person to understand you, and likewise. And you have to have grace for each other as you're learning about each other's tendencies. And if there's something that needs to be adjusted, you talk about it. But I'm gonna let Tiffany share maybe a few things about our friendship that we had to work on, you know, and we had to learn to be okay with it, and that we were helping each other, because these relationships you're helping one another to grow, even at the casual level.
Yes. So I would say, like, the area in our friendship where we were sharpening each other was because I'm a wardrobe stylist, and she was putting together her workshop over 5 years ago. And I just had this idea.
So let's give them the timeline. So this was about 2015.
Yes.
When I started doing workshops.
Yes.
I think we both started.
Yes, we did. Yeah. And so I knew she was, you know, preparing for this workshop. And I thought to myself, you know, I had already been to her home, and I had saw some of the pieces in her closet.
I don't wear that, are you? Know, I'm just playing.
and so I just decided, you know, it was in a season in my life where I was going after this dream and desire that I've always wanted to do. She was a person that was getting ready. She just fit. And so I said, hey, what are you wearing to the workshop? She said, oh, I'm thinking about putting this on. And I was like, no. No, you're not going to wear that. And I said, I suggested to her pieces from her own closet, you know, that we can put this together and make it look like this. And she was just like, they don't go together. They don't go together. And I was like, yes, it do. Trust me. And so we went through a little tug of war behind that. anyway, that was funny. And so the next part of it was, yeah.
So basically, you guys, we were starting to work together. And so when you
Yes.
start working with a friend, that can get a little sticky.
Yes. So this was the part in the journey where, okay, I said, okay, you know, I've already got her to commit to the wardrobe, even though she was tussling with me over this outfit. So then I suggest to her about getting a professional makeup artist. And she was kind of like, oh, you know, I can do it myself. And it was like, no, like this is the value that you should place on having this done, because you know you're a speaker, and yes, I know that you are an emerging speaker, but you don't want to wait till an opportunity comes to get ready. You want to be ready. And so we went through that process and whatnot, and then she saw the benefit and the end result of have been professionally styled, having a professional makeup artist, and really it gave her permission to see herself differently. And because I was able to use my gift with her walking alongside with me sharpened me in the area of not only just friendships, but also the attributes that I've learned from attending her workshops and just even doing life with her, that these are actually attributes that you can take in every area of your life, regards to relationships, business partnerships. Like, this information doesn't change. Like, once you get this information, once you get it down, you will be able to recognize quickly who is on the same level as you, who is pursuing the same type of relationships and partnerships and attributes as you. And you'll be able to weed through those people very quickly, which was, I didn't have that at the beginning. I just went off of, especially like when you're a person of faith,
yeah,
and you just see, oh, okay, this person has this title, they're nice, they're friendly, and you think that's it. And you have skipped all of the levels of friendship, and you just try to bring them in close and then wonder why you got burned.
Right. And so
we don't test.
I will say, I know that God brought me into Tiffany's life to help her to trust, because as she said before, she didn't really trust women. And so if you are that woman who you know that you have the ability to be trustworthy, that means that God probably will send you into a woman's life who doesn't trust, who hasn't ever seen consistently where that there are women out there that are faithful in being trustworthy and being honest and walking in integrity in friendship. So you may be that woman that can give that gift to another woman, because we all have to be used by God. And so I know that I was brought there to help Tiffany in that manner. And she was brought into my life, you know, as she was speaking about the wardrobe and the styling. It was one of those things that God needed me to build confidence on another level. And that is her gifting. And so I had to trust the God in her and trust the gift in her to help me walk that out, because it was increasing my faith. So we were sharpening each other in completely different areas of life. And you're in your friendships where you are strong, your friend will be weak, and vice versa. And so those are the things that you have to learn how to identify as you're walking the journey out with that individual. You'll say, what is the value that I bring to her life? And what is the value she brings to my life? And it could be, to you, it could be something so small and you think that it's nothing, but it can be very powerful. So make sure that you're paying attention to what you bring to the friendship, because believe me, it is life-changing. Right, Tiffany?
Yeah, it is life-changing. And then, you know, I want to bring up another point, because this was a recent segment on Red Table Talk. I don't know if you ladies watch Red Table Talk, but if you have not watched Red Table Talk, I highly recommend that you watch this particular segment. It's the show that comes on Facebook Watch on with Jada Pinkett Smith, her daughter Willow Smith, and Jada Pinkett's mother, who goes by Gammy. And they had sports commentators, Jamel Hill and Kerry Johnson. They were both on from ESPN. And Jamel was trying to befriend Kerry. And so Kerry, because she was untrusting of women, she didn't understand why is she being so nice to me? Why is she trying to give me the ins and outs of the culture of ESPN? And so because Jamel, she saw that this woman wasn't her competition. She was truly just trying to befriend her, to let her know, hey, like, what people to stay away from. This is how you should behave, or whatnot. But it was very kind of lopsided at the very beginning of their
Right.
friendship. And so they both discovered, as they continued to do life with each other and walk alongside of each other, they both had similar backgrounds. They both were raised in very traumatic homes that kind of tainted their perception of relationships. And
Yeah.
so, because Carrie was very untrusting, she didn't know if she could trust Jamel. And so, I was just so intrigued by this particular Red Table Talk season, that I told Laval about it. And I told her, I said, you have to watch this. I said, because it reminds me so much of us. But it was her consistency, Jamel's consistency with Carrie, that she was able to let her walls down and start to be vulnerable, and building a friendship and relationship with her.
Yeah. And even at casual, you both have to be vulnerable. And that's even in safe people. You know, a lot of times I know we go in relationships and only one person is being vulnerable. Both people have to show that vulnerability in order for it to work, you know, and learn how to trust one another and listen, not judging, because at the end of the day, we all need someone to hear us. We all need someone to see us, our authentic self, even if it's not perfect. We're there to support one another. Even if there's an issue in our lives, we're not trying to tell them what to do. We're just helping them walk out the journey of whatever decisions that they need to make, good, bad, or ugly. And so if you can be consistent in another woman's life, it will be life changing. And so even with Tiffany and I've seen her grow phenomenally. You know, like I said, our friendship wasn't activated until 2015. And the one thing I always say, and people always laugh, even when you're at the beginning of a casual friendship, ask for permission to come into her life. And I know it seems as simple as, like, you were in kindergarten, will you be my friend? You don't have to say it like that, but basically let that woman know that you are interested in walking out friendship with her, and explain to her why. If someone says they want to be your friend, they should be able to explain why do they want to come into your life. If they have no idea, no clue, you say, you know what? When you know, let me know, and I'll think about it, because you don't have to let everyone into your life. And so that comes with boundaries. If you feel like this person doesn't need to get as close as you want them to, just make sure that you have boundaries already set up in your life. And they have to respect that. People that love you and respect you, they're going to respect your boundaries, even if they don't like it, even if they feel like you're being too much. They will respect it, or they don't need to be a friend. They need to stay an acquaintance. Really. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you guys, ask to come into another woman's life. If you truly want to befriend her, you need to know why. And I know, like, when I came into Tiffany's life, I knew why I was coming into her life, because I wanted to be consistent. I didn't even know that she didn't trust women. I just know that I saw a value in who she was. I felt like we would have some things in common, because I too was very quiet. I'm very observant. When you meet me, I'm not just out there just loud. Sometimes I am, but not really. But the authentic side of me, I'm an observer. So I'm going to observe people before I'm going to let you into my life. But know why you want to befriend someone. Don't just let everyone call you a friend, because it takes work to call me friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't come for free. So make sure that you are keeping a guard on your heart on who you let come into your life.
Yeah, most definitely. And I would say for me, an example of what really started leading our friendship to go to was started setting the foundation for moving into close was, I'm a single woman, Laval is a married woman. And so you would think almost kind of sometimes like you probably wouldn't really connect because her life is totally different than mine. She has children, she's married. I don't have any children. I'm single. And so there was one point in time where I was just kind of struggling in my singleness, maybe about 4 years ago, and I didn't really want to open that, share that with her because I feel like she's not going to understand. Yeah. I always I looked at her as a super Christian. That was funny. I know.
She did,
I
y'all.
know.
I guess we should give them a little background. She tried to warn me, basically like, I don't know if you want to be my friend because I have a crazy sense of humor, and you might clutch your pearls on a lot of things that I say, a lot of things I don't say because I think you're gonna get offended or you're gonna judge me. And I said, girl, I already know that. So just be yourself. Just be yourself.
Yes. And so because we came from, separate sides of the street, I didn't think we would build a friendship to where it is today. Which is so God and how he orchestrated and did everything. But I know, like, that I was kind of struggling in my singleness about 4 years ago. And I decided, I was talking to her about it. And it was that moment when she was vulnerable with me to let me know what her life looked like before she started developing a greater walk with God. And I'm going to tell you this, because I had that perception in my head about her, has she not made herself vulnerable with me to let me know what her life looked like before she was married, we probably wouldn't be where we are today in our friendship. And so and you have to understand too, especially vulnerability is a risk. It's risky. But if you're going to build any kind of relationship, friendship with someone, especially on the close and intimate level, we're going to tap into the intimate level of the friendship in just a moment. But if you're going to build those kinds of friendships with someone, the kind of friendships that they're going to be in the trenches with you, you need to know who's with you and who's for you. And if you can't even be vulnerable with them, you're not going to make it. And vulnerability has to be two ways. It has to work for both parties willing to be vulnerable.
And I will tell you this, being vulnerable was very difficult for me. I've grown over the course of years, but I will say all of my friendships have helped me to grow in a level of vulnerability that I wasn't presently in before I met her and before I started having conversations and learning. I had to learn to be vulnerable because I never was before. So it's something that when you're in a friendship, both parties are going to learn some things, learn to go to another level. And the one thing that we wanted to share too was that you are going to have several divine connections because one woman cannot be everything to you. And so, like I said before, all of my friendships have been divine. I know that God has sent so many strong, beautiful women in my life, and we all have learned to do life together. Tiffany is just one of many. But you definitely have to learn to be vulnerable in different types of relationships that God has sent to you that you know is helping to sharpen you. And it is for purpose. So we're not just vulnerable just because. There are specific people that you're going to be vulnerable with for a reason, a purpose, and a season. And when you're vulnerable, it's going to help her to be vulnerable. So it's twofold. Okay. So don't just go around being vulnerable with everyone. We're talking about specific relationships that God has designed and it has purpose.
Yes. So walk us through what intimate level of friendship looks like and why very few people get there.
Okay. Well, did we talk about close?
I thought we did.
Well, we kind of intermingled. We talked about walking from casual to close. Well, in the latter second part of casual is where consistency has been in the friendship. A commitment has been to one another. And so you both have been vulnerable to a certain degree, and you're ready to go to the next level as far as sharpening each other. And so you start talking about more of spiritual things, because as we were saying before, this is more of for a biblical friendship. And so the attributes that God is calling us to walk in, that is what we're building our lives on. And so that is what also helps your relationships go to the next level. So as you're going from casual, which is more on the soulish level, the mind, mind, body, and soul, so to speak, the level of close, when we're talking about a biblical friendship, is where you're growing oneness in the spirit. So as you move forward spiritually, your goal, if you're walking out your salvation daily, your goal is to become more spiritually mature. So at this close level, if you're a woman of God, God is going to connect you with a woman who is on that same journey. And I'm going to say that you both are mature, probably about the same level. In some areas, you may be more mature than the other, but that's for you to help one another. So spiritually, you both are growing. So I will say, when Tiffany and I met, she called me a super Christian, y'all. Okay. Because for her, she didn't grow up in church. I did. And so, of course, I had probably more godly attributes in her eyes. I probably had more godly attributes and just things that looked like more like a Christian woman than she did. So she perceived that we wouldn't be a good fit, because she felt like she's going to always be judging me. She's always going to be quoting scriptures. She always going to say, God going to work that out for you, without, the vulnerability piece, which was probably true. But what she had is something that I needed. So I've always been very, very serious. And all of my friends would always say, you're so serious, you don't know how to have fun. And I have begun to start that journey of just being free, free to be me, showing my personality, taking risk, that kind of thing. So when Tiffany came into the picture, it was just helping me to be more comfortable in walking that out and just enjoying life, And so with her personality, it was just one of those things that we were a good fit, because she was still walking out her maturity in God. And so what I had, she needed. And so she balanced me out. She's always up on the latest social media, whatever is going on. And that's really not my world, but she's always like, hey, this is what's going on. You should know this and you should know that. And so, even with social media, she has also helped me to grow in that area. Like I said, I'm very private, so you don't see me making a lot of posts. She's the post queen. And so just some of those attributes.
Oh, I think we may have some technical difficulties. Okay.
Okay. Are we back?
Yes, we're back.
Okay. So I was just saying, we were.
Uh-oh.
Are we still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay. So just.
Okay. He's frozen again. All right. So, okay. So she'll be back. She'll be back. So just to give her a moment to come back on, we'll just kind of recap here a little bit, is just the different levels of friendship, like we were saying, going into close and coming into intimate, and it being more of oneness in the spirit. And because I was committed to my personal walk and my personal journey with God, as I kept maturing, it just fit. It just helped our friendship to develop even more on the close level. And now, having have moved into the intimate level, which I'll wait for her to come back on before we can before we start diving more into the intimate level. But as far as like the biblical side of friendship, you have to have two people who are willing to be committed to God, committed to God, committed to personal development and the transformation part of walking it out. Because we have a lot of people that they may go to church, but they're not necessarily committed to the process of the sanctification process of allowing God to turn you over and gut you out from the inside out. Meaning, God, you're giving God permission on a daily to search your heart. Search my heart, God. And then as you are actually doing that in your personal one-on-one time with God, it's not going to be offensive when God sends you a friend to journey with you in life that is also going to mirror back to you what you've been doing privately with God. So when that friend begins to correct you, or she begins to ask you questions about, why are you so private? How come you don't let anyone in? And they've proven themselves to be a safe person, then it should have you to step back and say, hey, like, why am I not showing up authentically? Why am I not being transparent? And for me, like I said, a lot of it just had to do with my personal wounding of being wounded by women, and then also being raised in a home where I was taught to not trust people. And so to be vulnerable was just like, like I was not doing that. Like I was not doing that. But I have made it a intent this last year. I've been intentionally really, really working hard on being vulnerable even more with people. And I am beginning to see, as I am being vulnerable, it's giving permission to those that are walking with me in my life for them to be vulnerable as well. So does anyone have any questions so far about any of the content that we're covering? I'm just going to give Laval some more time. She says she's trying to get back on. So I'm going to give her a moment to try to get back on here. But in the meantime, does anyone have any questions? If you can drop the questions, of course, in the comments section. And I'll give you guys a moment to think of any questions that you may have. Because like I said, so far, just to kind of recap a little bit, we've covered the acquaintance level of friendship. We've covered the casual and the close part of a friendship. So thank you for the love. Thanks for showing the love, you guys. Appreciate you. So part of the thing also too is as queens, like I said, on the Silhouette of a Queen segment, is assessing your current friendships. Because as you continue to make the commitment to do personal development and whatnot, you are going to have friends that need to be repositioned in your life. It's part of nature. I recall like a friend that I had for quite some time, and I relocated here to Texas, but we continued to be in friendship with one another. And it was getting to a place in my life because, I'm continuing to evolve. And she was one of those friends that she was highly opinionated about a lot of different things. And so she wasn't used to me starting to speak up and say different things about our relationship. And so I recalled her saying, "What's wrong with you? You're becoming so edgy. I just don't know what to do with you anymore." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And so she was able to explain her side of things, and And I just let her know is that I felt like our friendship was just becoming one side. It was okay as long as you were giving your opinion about things. But as soon as I started saying things, it became this thing. And so the next thing I know is that she eventually stopped calling me. She deleted me from social media. and that was that. And so I had to recognize that that season of our friendship had ended. And that's what will happen. And I think, Pam, she says in the comments section, reposition is an awesome word. Yes, that's exactly what God gave me. A lot of times we think we have to cut people off. It's not about cutting people off. It's about repositioning people. And you are the author of that. I often have this thing. I'm gonna say this, and then I'll let Laval catch us back up. But I often say this, that some people belong in the balcony and some people belong in the front row. Okay. The front row people are for your close and intimate friendships. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. The balcony people, sometimes you're going to have to move certain people. You're going to have to move them and put them in the balcony. And what that means when I say that is that I'm not cutting you off. I just repositioned you, which means I get to go like this. Hey, oh, I see you. Okay, you look good. Thank you. And then you just turn right back around.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of access. They don't have front row access, but they have a little bit of access, meaning that they get to see from afar. I didn't cut you off. I just moved you. You up there. So, so Laval, we were, before you kind of dropped off there, I was just talking to them about, evolving into a queen and how you have to assess current friendships. People will fall off, but we're going to kind of roll back around. Can you get us into intimate real quickly?
Okay. Well, the close relationship was where you both have that same commonality. You're both growing together spiritually. You're able to have those conversations where you know that your God is challenging you. And I know a lot of times the relationship that you're having when you're growing in God are those things that you'll be able to talk about with the woman that you're growing into a close relationship, because basically you both are on this journey to wholeness. You're on this journey to maturity. And as emerging leaders, whether you're a mom, whether you're a single woman and you're in the workplace, you're an entrepreneur, when you're walking as a woman of God, those things are they still apply. Nothing is separated. You are still that same woman wherever you go. And so as leaders, it's lonely at the top, as you're beginning to grow as a woman of God. And so that camaraderie that you both have is what's going to keep you going. So even as Tiffany and I, in our own separate ways, we're walking in our role that God has called us to be, and you with whoever you're walking with, those conversations is going to encourage you to keep going. Even on those days that it gets hard, you don't feel like doing anything that God has called you to do. You can be like, hey, girl, I don't even feel like it. Not to say that you're going to stop. It's just that you needed someone to say it to, just so that you can get it out of your system and you can move on. You can still be encouraged. And she will encourage you. And that's what that close relationship is. She's going to be there to listen to what your goals are. And you both may even have those same goals. I have my list of things. She has her list of things. Sometimes we can work together. As Tiffany and I were telling you before, you all may have ideas where you complement one another's gifts and you start walking together. And so you're basically saying, okay, you have those goals, I have my goals, girl, call me back when you get them done. And close, that's what you may be doing. You may just be having conversations about it, having brainstorm ideas, that kind of thing. But as you go into close, it goes a lot deeper. Now that we kind of, we both have this goal to be the woman God has called us to be, We're putting things into action. Intimate is now where you go into another level of, or a new level of accountability, where you have decided that you're going to invest in her process of becoming whole, or getting those things done, or becoming that wife that God is calling her to be, or becoming that single woman that God is calling her to be. So we both have those things that we're trying to work out. But at intimate, that person is committed and invested and will give their time, their resources, late nights talking to you on the phone. You know, if you're in a crisis, she's going to be that person that's committed to being there with you during that time. It's not a lot of people that's going to do that. And so as you're walking through each level, this person is showing that consistency through each level. You know, and I'm not saying that we're perfect, because we will have that trial and error, and we're trying to figure out how we can help one another, and we're trying to figure out the communication, where it lacks, where we need to work on, those kind of things. That's being worked out, even from casual to close to intimate. But now we're both vested in each other. And I know with Tiffany and I, we both have helped each other through good, bad times. And we've had conversations that were uncomfortable when our integrity or our character has had flaws in it. We've had to call each other out on it. And we just learned to say, you know what, at the end of the day, she has my back. At the end of the day, she wants to see the best for me. And she's telling me out of love. She's telling me because no matter what happens, even if it's not to her best interest, she's going to help me out. She's going to research things for me. She's going to help me find a solution. All of those things are very rare in friendships. That's why we said not very many people get into intimate relationships. Even for me, I had to decide. I'm like, I don't know if I've even been that close to anyone in the intimate level, because it's hard work. It's sacrifice, you know? So it's not easy to actually do all those things. But with God's help, if it's a divine connection and you both have intention to help one another, and no matter what it is, well, if you can do it within your means, you do it. You know, we still are walking in integrity in everything that we do. And it's not going to always be perfect. You're going to have life lessons that you're going to learn through the process, even when it comes to working out different just solutions. Tiffany, do you have any examples you want to share with them as far as being vested in your friend's life and helping her to just grow or get through the hard places?
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, I think you were kind of shocked, like, when I started coming to your workshops, and you were like, you really keep coming to the same workshop and hearing me teach the same thing over and over and over. Like, you thought I was going to be bored, but it was like, no, like, I'm here to help you be successful. You know what I mean? So I'm helping you set up the tables. I'm helping you do whatever it takes to make sure that you always look great and good on the front line of what you're doing. And so I think, you know, even moving to that level is sometimes it is a sacrifice, even of your time, a sacrifice of your resources, just being able to do what it takes to walk alongside of that person, just being there for them, not just saying it, but actually doing it.
Being behind the scenes when nobody else is looking.
Yeah,
all of that. So are you willing to invest in those close and intimate relationships? Because we all say we want these relationships, but do you want to commit to the work that it takes to do it? That's the question.
And a lot of times, you know, you guys, you've heard me talk about this all the time on this platform about therapy. Like, I am an advocate of therapy. If you are having a hard time bringing people into close and intimate, you have to do some level of self-discovery to say why.
Yeah.
Why? Because if God is bringing people before you and you won't let them in, they can't even they can't come near you. You have to do that. You have to do that work, and it's it's one of those things we always hear that phrase, you got to do the work, you got to do the work. But I'm gonna tell you, this is what separates the players from the bench warmers. Who's going to get out here? Who's going to get out of here on the field and actually do the work? Because the work is hard. The work is tiresome. The work makes you have to look in the mirror and say, "Ooh, that's kind of ugly about myself. Like, why do I show up like this? Why am I doing this?" Like, you have to be able to do this work, because otherwise, if you don't do this work, if you won't be able to go to the next level, because you can't get there by yourself. You cannot get, I don't care how much you pray. I don't care how much you fast. I don't care how much work you do. You need a team of people. Even Jesus had some disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't, the great Jesus didn't do the work by himself. He had people around him to lift him up. So if you are finding yourself still stuck on the same level, check your circle.
Yeah.
Because these should be people that's speaking into your life, helping you to get there. Telling you, girl, did you call the therapist yet? Even if she gets on your nerves, girl, did you? Girl, did you need somebody in your corner that's going to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because becoming a leader is not easy. It's hard work, and it's a lot of sacrifice, even in who God is calling us to be. And that's why these friendships are so critical. And I feel like a lot of women are not even, they're not even getting everything that they need, because there are so many women that need that support.
Yeah.
You need that support. You cannot do everything by yourself. So start, like you said, doing that self-assessment, saying, what do I need? What do I give? Because everybody has something to give. What do I give? Because that's going to even just build your own self-confidence, and even just knowing that you're worthy of friendship. Because I think a lot of women feel like, well, I'm not a good friend, or am I worthy of having a person in my life such as this? You are. You are. So just continue to do your work. And like Tiffany was saying, just begin to uncover, where are your tough spots? And I know that God is faithful. He will send another woman to help you walk it out. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to do your work. And when you say, you know what, I'm not good in this area, but I want to get better. I want to learn how to be consistent, or I want to learn how to trust. He will send someone that's trustworthy. You just have to be honest with yourself about where you are and start committing to the work, because it's not easy. So, no friendship is cookie cutter. Like, even when I do my workshops, I say, I can't give you all the answers, but God can. But you have to just be willing to learn about the tools, because a lot of women just come, they understand that, well, I tell them it's a process. Just like, we think that we are born learning how to be friends, but we're not. It's a process. And so even just learning the levels of friendship and where you are and what your attributes are, is going to help you in your past friendships, your current friendships, and your future friendships, and knowing that you need them. And when you say, I need them, you're going to start letting those walls come down that you have up, that armor that you have up. You'll start allowing yourself to take it off, especially around the people that God are divinely sent you to, for you to learn to be vulnerable. Because basically, as you're learning to be vulnerable, it's only with a select few, but you got to find who those few are. And if you are closed off, you'll never find them. You'll never have the opportunity to grow in that capacity and to have the safe people around. So when you know that someone is safe, just have faith and say, you know what, God, I think that this person has been consistent. This person has been honest with me. They've shared their heart with me. And you don't have to share everything. Just share even just one thing. Just start being vulnerable little by little. And before you know it, just put yourself around women who are walking the same journey as you. If there's someone that is not committed to that journey, then they're not going to be a safe person, because they're not even doing the work themselves. So you both have to be doing the work together and try to stay on that path and encourage each other. So Tiffany, I'm gonna let you share anything else you want to share. And
Yes. So one of the things that I thought was funny, like one time we were we were having a conversation. This was probably maybe about 3 years ago, and you said, "Yeah, because I can't talk to two Tiffany's in a day." And I said, "What do you mean you can't talk to two of me in a day?" And so what she was saying was that because of the level of close and intimate, it's a lot of work.
yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of accountability, and and a lot of time and investment that goes into building those friendships. But when she said that, because at first I didn't understand what she meant when she said that, and I was like, yeah, you know, right, I can't talk to two of you in the days. But I want to talk about like how past and present friendships can show you what you need.
Yeah.
Like the things that frustrated you in friendships where you're just like, ugh, like, you may have like some things about that person, but then it was like that is a perfect example to show you what you need by what was lacking in the friendship. Explain that, please.
Say the question one more time.
So explain how you and I were having a conversation, and we were this was off the segment, but we were talking about past and present friendships and how what you did not get in those friendships, how it can serve to let you know what you need in your friendships.
Oh, okay. Okay. One of the things that you do have to understand is what do you bring to the table? And what you bring to the table, usually you want to receive that in friendships. So if you had a friendship before that, you know, it maybe the friendship was many years, maybe it stopped working after 6 months, just, you know, it's going to be different for everyone. But if you look back and you say, you know, this friendship didn't work out because she never kept her word. And I always keep my word. If I say I'm going to meet up with you, at least if I can't, I'm going to call you back and I'm going to let you know in ample time so that you can prepare to do something else or make other plans. So if you are a person that's consistent in that and you didn't receive that, and that was one of the things that really got up under your skin. And not to say that if it happened one time, okay, maybe it was just an accident, maybe it was just a misunderstanding. But when it's consistent and you're saying, you know what, I give this in a friendship. Yeah. And a lot of times we don't feel like we must require it. Now, yes. in a acquaintance relationship and in a casual relationship, there's no real commitment. But by the time, if that person has made it too close in your life, there is a loyalty and a commitment that should be there on both sides. So if you don't have those things in previous relationships, you make a decision and say, you know what, that's what I need, and it's not too much to ask. And especially if you give it, then you should know that you're worthy of receiving it back. Because I think that's one of the conversations that we've had in the past is like, why is it too much to say, you know, hey, just respect my time, or respect the fact that I was waiting on you and you never called me. You know, do you not care about how I feel? You know, any of those things that we always deal with, or even just an honesty issue, you know. I know for me in the past, I've had to deal with something that I did that was dishonest in a friendship. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's never going to talk to me again. And so years later, after I called her and you know, God was pressing up on my heart to apologize, I thought she probably is not going to accept my apology. And she did. But it really just ministered to me that in my friendships, I would want someone to be just as honest. And even if the issue is not resolved immediately, that is resolved later, you know, because that's going to come with growth. It's going to come with maturity. And it's something that has to be done. So we're not going to always get it right, but definitely after even yourself, if you make those mistakes, make sure that you correct them. Make sure that
Yeah.
you go back and try to make it right. Even if you all decide that you're not going to be friends anymore, that there's closure to the situation. So all of those things, make sure that you walk in integrity. That's tough, y'all. It doesn't come
Yeah.
easy
You know,
because those are
yeah.
hard conversations to humble
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah. Because
and
you know
make it
what,
right.
as you were talking, an example that came to mind is we had like a conversation that you and I had to have one time when we had met up with each other earlier up in the day, and we had decided that we were going to go meet up again because you had another event to go to. And so we said, okay, we're going to meet up at 7 p.m. and go to dinner. Well, at 7 p.m. came and I was like, where's the text message? Where's 9 o'clock rolled? I was like, what happened? So when she finally calls me, she's like, girl, I'm on my way home. I said, what? I said, what happened to us meeting back up? Oh, I got distracted. And I went over here to this person's house and I said, Laval, that's not what we talked about. I said, the last conversation you and I had was you were going to go over here and do this, and we were going to meet back up at for dinner. And I am a person like I take you at your word. If you say I'm such a stickler for that. Like if you tell me 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, we're gonna meet here at 7 p.m. You know what I do? I put it in my phone, I lock it, and I don't think about it again because I know that I have it there. And so when she did that, I was low key disappointed, a little agitated. But even though I was agitated, I didn't let that come across to her when I had to say that to her. That's part of the maturity in walking in friendship with someone is when you do have something that you have to confront them on, don't do it right then and there. If your emotions is super high about it, don't send them a text message because you're like, send. Boom.
Yes.
No, step away from it, depending on how heated the situation is. Step away from it. Assess your emotions. What made you feel this way, and then come back. Because by the time you come back, as the Bible says, a soft answer turns away wrath. We think because the emotions is so strong that we got to confront them right then and there. We have to say it right then and there. And you're going to end up wounding the person. You're going to offend the person, where when you take a moment to step back, collect your thoughts, and then go have a conversation, it's going to be received so much better. So because I wasn't high in my emotions at the time that I let her know, like basically that wasn't not right for you to do that. You know, I could have went and did something else. That was not the last conversation we had. And so she apologized about it and we moved on.
Yeah.
And that's particularly, you know, a lot of our disagreements.
I'm sorry, Tiffany, even apologizing is difficult.
Yeah. For some people it is. Some
difficult.
People don't ever apologize. They don't never apologize. That will kill your friendship.
It will. I was going to say that.
It will kill your friendship.
Tiffany and I have had our own little ins and outs about apologies. And it's not that, you know, with our personalities, they're completely different. And so what I think is not a big deal is a big deal to her. And I had to respect her feelings about something that to me, I'm like, girl, just get over it. You know, in my mind, I may have been thinking that. I didn't say that because, you know, that's, like I said, if something is on your mind, you need to still watch your words because you don't know what's going on with her. And even in friendship, we have to respect each other's feelings. Even if you don't think that it's a big deal, to her, in those close and intimate relationships, you have to care about her feelings. And, you know, Tiffany and I have had several conversations about that. We've had experiences on both ends of the coin. Matter of fact, probably about a month ago, something that she would have ranted about, she didn't rant about. I forgot what it was, Tiffany. And so she would have argued with me about this particular situation. And I was like, she didn't argue with me. And I was like, what happened? Oh my gosh. And later on, we had a conversation, and she was saying that the Lord had dealt with her heart, and he told her not to say anything. He was like, don't say anything. And I noticed, because in the past, Tiffany would have been all over me about this particular subject. I forgot what it was. And that showed me that she was maturing in that area as well. So both parties are going to mature, maybe not at the same time. So you definitely have to have grace for one another, because eventually you should mature in those areas that you're having problems with. But I remember one time we had a situation, we were kind of like snapping back at each other. And I was so mad at her. And I got off the phone, and and I'm like, why is she talking to me like that? And so God has spoken to me about, and I'll just say, he said, well, you talk to that, sometimes you talk like that to your husband, so why are you talking to her like that? I mean, and so I said, oh, okay. And sometimes those friendships will sharpen you for other relationships, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that she and I were going back and forth, and we were, arguing about this, that, and the other, not like a big argument or anything, but we just had a disagreement. And so it was just one of those things that God will use all of your relationships to sharpen you for other relationships, because at the end of the day, we should still be listening to the Holy Spirit when we're doing something wrong, or we have this attitude that shouldn't be there. And so I didn't tell her in that day that God got onto me, even in that little spat that we had, for a different reason. But it was funny, because I just didn't expect that. I didn't expect it. But anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it.
So you guys, as we're going to start wrapping this up here a little bit. So if you have any questions, go ahead and start dropping those in the comments section. But as they're doing that, Laval, we talk about, what we call women of armor, not being vulnerable, not being transparent, how you can remain at the casual level. And I think a lot of times when we were just speaking just a moment ago about apologies are crucial in a friendship, and it can end a friendship. And a lot of times you have to ask yourself, like, when was the last time that you apologized to a person? If you never apologize to anyone, never, like, I'm going to tell you that is rooted in pride and stubbornness, because what that is ultimately saying is that you are always right. You don't do anything wrong. I will say, Laval, I don't think I have a problem with apologizing to you when I do things wrong or say anything wrong. I always try to make sure that I'm apologizing to people, to say, hey, you know what? I think I communicated that differently. I could have said this a lot better. Let me say, I should have said this. Because for one, I don't want to be that person that is seen that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say for you, you too, it doesn't take you. I don't feel you're stubborn with apologizing.
No.
But talk about the woman of armor.
The woman of armor. Oh, basically not allowing your friendships, especially like we said, when we get to close and intimate, not allowing yourself to take off your armor. As women, we try to be tough. We have this armor on that we don't want to take off. We don't want anyone to see our weaknesses. And that's not good. I know for me, I'm usually a pillar, whether it be, in my family or, where in a room where I am, I'm usually a woman that, can withstand, adversity. But sometimes I get weary and I get weak too. But if I never allow myself to say so, or to reveal that I'm having a bad day, I'm not feeling good, I need support, if I never take that armor off, then how will people know that they have permission to support me? And you don't want to get to that position, because when you need support, people are not going to know it. And I know for me, I've experienced that. I'm like, when something happens and I'm looking around like, why isn't anyone asking me if I need help or asking me if I need, some type of encouragement? And it's because I'm always trying to wear my armor. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Smiling and never having a bad day. And I had, even this year, I think that I've learned to take off my armor sometimes, even with my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Even
And
with my family.
I will say, like, even with that, like, because I've heard that a lot of times from women too, who are pillars. They get frustrated that no one calls to check up on them, no one texts to check on them, and I'm like, no, they're not going to, because you're not vulnerable. If I see you as a woman of pillar, as this all the time, and you come into the room, dun da da da, you got it together, everything is. No, I'm not going to ask you how you're doing, because you're not willing to make yourself vulnerable to say, like, hey, I was struggling today. And I think a lot of times we need to, go beyond even asking people how are you doing, because that accesses the logical part of your brain. We need to start asking, how are you feeling? Because most of us don't do that. How are you feeling? Because now that's accessing my heart space for me to have to go dig deep in and say, how am I really feeling?
Yeah.
And be vulnerable with that person that's saying, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Because that's going to start knocking and chiseling away at the armor for people to say, you know what, let me call and check up on this person. Let me text them and see how they're doing.
And I know for me, even you guys, me being the sisterhood strategist, I've had to live this out, you guys. So the things that I've learned, I've experienced, and at a point in my life, I was in a weary place. And so God even had to minister to me where I didn't want to expose what was going on in my life. And God said, I have centered women around you that will hold you up when you feel like you can't do it anymore, feel like you can't walk. They will walk with you. They will hold you up. And he literally told me, he said, you would be stupid to not allow them to hold you up when you need it. And I said, God, you calling me stupid? but when I thought about it, it was so true. And so I feel like even in our relationships is that when you even allow yourself to be vulnerable with those who love you and those who have been supporting you and they've been consistent in that area, when you are vulnerable with them, it's a special moment for them because they want an opportunity to help you. They want an opportunity to be there for you, especially if you're a pillar and you're always there for everyone else. When they have the opportunity to help you, it blesses their soul because they're like, I want to give back to you. You've supported me in so many ways. I'm more than happy to honor, and support you in this way. So give them that opportunity to help you. Whenever that actually comes to you, allow them to help you because it has to be where we're helping one another. Nobody is always strong every day, 24/7. It's not true. That doesn't happen. And so when I did let down my armor, it was like, oh my gosh, that's what this is for. Building relationships, building close and intimate relationships before you need them. Before you need them, not when you need them. Because if you haven't built any relationships and you need someone and a crisis happens and you haven't taken out the time to build relationships, then who you're going to be looking around like, where are my people at? Where are my girls at? And you don't have any because you didn't take the time to build them before anything, a crisis happened or you needed support and you have on this armor all by yourself. You don't want that to happen. So build relationships before you need them.
Yes. So, okay, so now we're in the question Q&A portion of our segment. So the question that I have for you, and again, to the viewers, go ahead and drop the questions there as well. But how would someone who is an introvert, how would they build relationships if they relocated to another city?
Okay, now I would say First of all, you're going to have to make a decision that you're going to get out of your comfort zone. It is going to be uncomfortable, but it's one decision at a time. I will give you an example for me. I did move to Texas, and I did not know a lot of people. And so I went to a huge church, the Potter's House. If you guys are familiar with that, it's a mega church. And one of the things that I committed to doing is I said, every time I go to church, I want to meet people. I'm going to introduce myself to the people to the right of me and the left of me every Sunday. That was, and I mean, that seems like it's huge, but I was real shy too. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I just made that secret commitment to myself. And I said, God, I know that you're going to help me if I make this commitment. And I kid you not, I did it every Sunday. And as big as that church was, all of the people that I introduced myself to, probably every Sunday, I started seeing those people because I now recognize their face and I tried to make a connection with them. So as I would see the people every Sunday that I introduced myself, I was like, oh my God, God is so faithful. Out of all of these people at this church, I would always see the people that I proactively introduce myself to. So it's little steps like that you will have to say, you know what, I'm going to show myself friendly, because that's what the word says. If you want friends, show yourself friendly, and just God will give you little things to do that will get you out of your comfort zone. And when you do, he's going to start connecting people to you. Yeah. Even if it's one person.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
Just get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's true. The next question is, a lot of times, the younger generation, it doesn't take them very long to coin the term bestie for another friend, whether they've known them for 8 months. What qualifies a person to be called a bestie?
Well, that's going to be a difficult answer. But what I will say is, we talked about being consistent. We talked about walking in integrity. You can start seeing someone's behavior based off of how they treat other people, and basically how they treat you, your personal experience, and just seeing how they operate and how they make decisions and choices. The question will be, is that something you would do? Because you should choose your friends based off of the, I would just say your personal, what do I want to say? Not goals, but just the character that you would have. You want to align yourself with people that have that same characteristic. So if you are walking with God and you're growing and trying to mature, those are the types of people that you want to look for. If you're looking for close and intimate relationships, that is going to take time. So if you are, let's just say, an acquaintance or a casual friend with someone that's not walking in those same attributes, then you wouldn't want to call them bestie right away, because you're going to run into having situations where if they're not walking in the characteristics that you would, it's not going to line up, and you're going to get disappointed every time. So make sure that you're careful about aligning yourself with those who are not walking in the same way that you are. Yeah. So don't call besties so soon. You have to, and this is one of the things that we didn't talk about, but make sure that when you are starting to connect with people, that you're able to build a good foundation in that friendship. If the foundation is rocky, that's not going to be a bestie. So be able to build a foundation in friendship on the principles that you believe in, the integrity that you walk in, the characteristics. One of those scriptures that I tell everyone to walk out yourself is walking in the fruit of the Spirit. And if you stand on that scripture, you're going to look for people who also walk in that, not just speak it, but act on it as well. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If you're trying to walk in self-control, don't befriend someone that doesn't have any self-control, because that's not going to work. You're going to end up following them and, lacking self-control. So besties have to have those same characteristics. So you know yourself better than anyone else. And if you're trying to grow and be positive, you're going to have to choose your besties wisely.
Choose your besties wisely.
Yes.
Oh, that deserved a snap.
Choose your besties wisely. You get to choose.
Yes, you do get to choose. So, okay, here's another question. So you recognize that a person, we talked about repositioning people earlier, and I was talking about, repositioning people to the balcony, like, hey,
right.
Hey girl, hey girl, hey.
Right.
So you recognize that you need to reposition someone, in your life. Maybe the season has changed. Maybe you see that, I had this person at a level that they really shouldn't be at. How do you do this?
Okay. So usually when you identify you have to reposition someone is usually when conflict happens.
Oh boy.
And when conflict is going to happen, I don't even care how good besties you are, conflict is going to happen. And the question is how is that conflict being handled on both sides? So if you have had conflict more than 3 times, and you've attempted to resolve the issue with the individual, it's time to reposition. I'm going to say, and I'm just giving a general guideline because it's like 3 strikes you out. And so let's look at how we want to resolve issues. We want to resolve conflicts. As women of God, we want to try not to always walk in our emotions, because our emotions will get us in trouble every time. Every time. So in maturing, you want to, first of all, take the issue to God. Now, this is not something that we traditionally do because we always walk on our emotions and act on our emotions, but hear me out. If you're having an issue with are we saying a bestie or someone we thought was our bestie?
Yeah. Well, no, this is you're just recognizing that a person needs to be repositioned.
And usually
it could be bestie. It could be. This is just a person in your circle of friendship.
I'll say this, as you make a decision, like after you watch this video today and you start thinking about relationships that probably haven't been working, but you just been holding on to them. We'll just kind of put it in that way.
Yeah.
Because you're maturing, you're going to start, friction is going to start because you're trying to mature, and that individual that you've been walking with, they may not be ready to walk to another level. And so you're going to start, the sparks are going to start flying because now you all are irritating each other for whatever reason. If you're trying to mature and go to a higher level, and maybe they're saying, oh, you think you're better than me. It could be a myriad of things that, sparks are starting to fly. But you also need to first take that to God and say, you know what, God, please show me this relationship. What is it? How does it look? Was I supposed to be in this friendship anyway? Because a lot of times we befriend people that we weren't supposed to befriend anyway.
Yeah.
But I always talk about, in every friendship, do an assessment on you on why the relationship isn't going well. Did you allow them to walk over you? You didn't have any boundaries. You're a people pleaser. What is it that made this relationship not work? Take responsibility on your end, because you can't control the other person. But the key is identifying those things, praying about it, and asking yourself, if I confront my friend about this issue, is it for me to just be angry with them, or is it to resolve the relationship so that it can get better? Why are you addressing it? And if you feel like it is worth addressing and they are willing to listen and communicate and figure out what the issue is, if they're willing, because both parties have to have this willingness to communicate. If you see, oh girl, why are we talking about that? Oh, and she's giving you resistance, then that's going to let you know that there a repositioning probably needs to happen. So you just need to decide for yourself, what boundaries do I need to keep in place? And I need to put these boundaries and begin to act on them consistently, to just kind of see where the relationship is. You don't have to cut it off immediately, but when you put boundaries in place, does this friend respect the boundaries? Even if it's not to her, it's not what she wants you to do. Does she respect them? So all of these things are going to let you know if she is for you or is she just there.
Yeah.
And it'll let you know if your friendship has a foundation or not. Is it just shaky? Was it never a foundation? Or is our friendship to a level where, you know, even if we have a disagreement, we can work it out? So if it is not, just start putting boundaries in place. And if you're not familiar with boundaries, that's something that you'll have to start diving into and start putting into place, not just for one person, but for everyone in your life. You have to start having boundaries, because that's going to help you see what relationships should remain and which ones should be repositioned.
Yes. And so what she just said is really great. And for those of you, like, if you want to get a better understanding of boundaries, there is a book out there now that's called Boundaries. Just go to Amazon, put it in. I've actually read that book. It's a really, really great book that helps you on how to start establishing these boundaries. I just want to make a comment, because we're getting ready to close here. I see in one of the comments here, one of our viewers said that she needs to learn how to step away when there's conflict, especially when emotions are high. Mm-hmm. And that she says she totally dislikes when people comes to her the next day or two with something. And I want to speak to that, because that's actually wise. And the reason why, like I was mentioning earlier, is because when you're in the thick of things and your emotions is high, you are literally allowing those emotions, that anger, to be in the driver's seat. And you are going to say things that can potentially just wound the other person or just sever ties with the relationship. Stepping away really does allow you to understand your feelings and your emotions and what was said to you that was a trigger.
Yeah.
Because for me, I want to say this. Everyone has a trigger. I don't care who you are. Everyone has a trigger. I have a trigger. And before I can even catch myself, there's two ways that I'm going to respond. I'm going to have on my boxing glove and my Wolverine claw. And either you're going to get socked and clawed at the same time before I can even catch myself. And so I had to even start, when I notice that if I'm interacting with certain people and they're bringing that out in me, I have to step back and assess the situation and say, what was it about what they said that was a trigger for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it could be the other person. They may not even be aware that they're showing up like that. But when you are able to step back from the situation, assess it a day or two, now, based on the level of relationship that you have with this person, is this a relationship that's valuable to you? Then you can go to this person and say, hey, I want to address this with you. And the reason why I'm addressing this with you a few days later is because I had to step away and kind of process this before I came to say this to you. And because I value our relationship, I value our connection, I value our partnership, this is something that you can use in every area of a relationship.
Yeah.
This is, when you said this, it made me feel like this. And I don't like to feel like this. So I'm going to ask you, to please not do that again. Or why are you doing this to me? Why are you jabbing me? Why are you, whatever the case may be. So it is actually wise to step away from a situation before you actually go and confront that person. And like Val was saying earlier, pray about it, pray about it, or even talk with someone who is a trusted person in your life that has wisdom to where they're not going to give you any foul advice. They're not going to have you be walking in your ego, but they're actually solution driven people where they're not going to side with you just because they're your friends or because they know you. They're going to actually give you wise and sound counsel.
And your friends, your true friends, are going to help you keep your other relationships intact.
Yeah.
So if you have friends that are pulling you away from someone else, especially if that, like I said, Tiffany and I have different friends, and you're going to have friends that are in your life for this reason and this season. But because I know Tiffany and I know her dynamics, I know that certain friendships are still key for her to keep in place. So as her friend, knowing, who God is calling her to be, I'm going to encourage her to keep all of those relationships intact and to walk in integrity in everything that she does and how she walks and that kind of thing. And so your friends are going to help you keep all your relationships solid. If they are truly your friend, keep an eye on that. If you have friends that's trying to pull you away from, and I'm saying people who are vital to who God is calling you to be, don't let anybody destroy those relationships because you need them for a different reason. So make sure that you're keeping abreast of that.
Yeah. Well, we thank you, ladies, for rocking with us this evening and having the conversation about a Queen's Court.
Yeah.
We hope that this is just the beginning of helping you to identify your current relationships that you have and that you may need to reposition some people in your life, or that you may just need to continue to strengthen the ones that you currently have. And we just ask, that you prayerfully make that decision as you walk into this season of where we are now, because in this pandemic, it's very crucial and important because of the level of shifting that's been happening in the world. As the world is shifting, we're shifting too. And so because we are going and moving into navigating into a new world that requires us to show up differently, we're going to have those people in our court that can support us in becoming the highest version of ourselves, which is a queen. And like I said at the top of the segment, is that by us saying that we are queens, we're going to wear this crown, we are accepting the role of greater responsibility, maturity, and sharpening our gifts and becoming whole women. And so that means that we must be willing to do the necessary work to become her. When I say her, I mean us. And so I just thank you all for rocking with us tonight. LaVal, do you want to share with the viewers how they can stay connected with you and on your social media platforms and whatnot?
Yes, you can connect with me on Facebook under Striving in Sisterhood. It is a private group that you can request to join. Also, Striving in Sisterhood is on Instagram, and you can follow me personally on Instagram under LaVal Ezel as well, and on Facebook under LaVal Ezel. So stay connected with us. You'll always receive something inspiring that will help you in your journey. You'll get tips, you'll get blogs, pictures, just inspiration to keep us going and making sure that our relationships are strong, because this is something that you have to practice. It's not something that happens overnight. Becoming a friend, it takes work. I don't even care if you have a title and you are pastor, elder, all of these titles, it has nothing to do with friendship. So please make sure that you understand the levels of friendship so that it can enhance your entire life, not just one area, but all of these attributes that you learn in the levels of friendship apply to all. So thank you so much for having me on the show, Tiffany. I had a great time. This is a conversation that we can continue to have, because as becoming queens, there are so many facets of us, and we never stop learning, growing, or maturing. So stay connected and keep growing. Keep striving in sisterhood is what I always say.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys. You guys have a blessed and wonderful night. Again, thank you for rocking with us. And I will be back here in the next month for another silhouette of a queen. I'm going to wrap up 2020, so you don't want to miss it, because I'm going to leave us with a talk that will set us up to go into 2021. Because guess what?
Yep,
We survived, y'all. We survived,
we
and part of
survived.
yes, and part of doing that again is to build your court. So, you guys have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night, ladies
Bye
and
bye.
gentlemen. No, I don't know.